That's where you need to be on alert for heavy rainfall and some strong gusty winds as well. And Mike Seidel, quite a scene today compared to yesterday where it was sunny and turquoise water.
Yeah, yesterday was one of those beach days you live for because the water temperature is right around 80. That's where I like it. I don't like 90-degree beach water temperatures. Here's the beach. You can see about 1-footers. This is not going to be an impactful storm on the beaches here on the East Coast. We will have some rip current issues tomorrow, even into Sunday with the onshore wind, but otherwise beach erosion not a factor, and we're not going to worry about any kind of surge. This is a very weak system, and that means it's not concentrated. What we will have to worry about is heavy rainfall. Let's go to the radar. Now, here in Vero Beach, we've had about a 1/4 inch of rain so far. That's not much. We're all under a flood watch, basically from Lake Okeechobee and south, and from the Space Coast down the East Coast into the Florida Keys. That goes through late tomorrow night. And some areas could pick up over 6 inches of rain. We don't think we'll get quite that much here because we're farther north, but we're at least going to get 3 to 4 inches of rain here. And again, watch out for the potential for localized flooding and ponding on the highways. Wind, well, right now you can see the palm trees. They are barely blowing. They are barely even moving. Winds are running about 8 to 9 miles an hour from the palm trees over here, and that's about it. But overnight tonight, as the storms come on in, we get the heaviest rainfall and the gustier winds late tonight into Saturday morning. We could get gusts over 40 miles an hour. Maybe that knocks down a palm frond, but we're not expecting any significant impacts on power or any kind of physical damage. Really, it's all about the rainfall and the risk of flash flooding. The timing on the ending of this, well, we've got a little disagreement. It's certainly going to be out of here by 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. It may end a little bit earlier. We'll see how fast this moves. It depends if the center reforms. We've got some swirls out there, and we'll see if it reforms farther east to north. That would end the rain sooner. But count on another beach day tomorrow where you don't even need to come out to the beach and put on sunscreen. Sure, come on out and take a walk, Chris. But again, the worst of the weather overnight through at least later on tomorrow morning here in Vero Beach, up here in Indian River, and up to Brevard County and the Space Coast. Chris?
Yeah, that's a great reminder. Sometimes those cloudy, rainy days on the beach are always great just to walk the sand and get a different perspective rather than hang out there for all afternoon. All right, great tips. One city we're watching closely is Vero Beach, Florida. That's where we find meteorologist Mike Seidel. Mike, you were in Fort Lauderdale earlier. Explain how the drive was today. Did you have a lot of squalls, or was it still fairly kind of quiet, just cloudy?
We went through some heavy rain, Chris, in Broward County and into Palm Beach County. Then we kind of ran out of it. And what we've had here since about 2 p.m. is just some very light rain. To put it in perspective, last hour we had 0.04 of an inch of rain. That's not much. Even where I've checked Miami and Fort Lauderdale, nobody's getting a 1/2 inch of rain an hour. So as a result, we're not seeing any flash flood warnings yet, but that's probably going to change overnight. Surf is not going to be an issue. We're not worried about surge. Will be some rip current impacts, certainly with the onshore wind, not only tomorrow, but even into Sunday as the sun starts to come back out, maybe even before sunset tomorrow. But I want to show you the palm trees over here, and you get an idea of how little wind we have right now. It's running about 7 or 8 miles an hour. Now, don't be fooled. It will get gustier. We've had gusts in the Keys, Key West all day, pushing 40 miles an hour. And we may get some gusts here late tonight and certainly through late tomorrow morning as high as 35 or 40 miles an hour. What does that cause? Not a whole lot of damage. In fact, minimal. Maybe some palm fronds come down. Maybe it blows a trash can down the street. But 35 to 40 mile an hour wind gusts, really, we can handle that. They have thunderstorms here just earlier this week that produced stronger winds. Rainfall totals here, 3 to 4 inches. The farther south you go, the farther southwest you go, you get into those totals that may top out at even 6 inches to 8 inches of rainfall. So we'll watch that area, the whole area from here right across to Sarasota, Bradenton, and south into the Keys, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Homestead, all those areas under a flood watch through late tomorrow night, officially till 3 a.m. on Sunday morning. So it's the rain, the wind, and as we have a tropical system coming on shore, we always think about severe weather. Now, this isn't a very concentric system. It doesn't have a close circulation, at least. That's why right now it's just a potential tropical cyclone. But even if it becomes Alex or not, we're still going to be concerned about potentially a few tornado spin-ups and some gustier winds, and we'll likely hear from the Storm Prediction Center. Right now they have a low-end risk for tornadoes tomorrow in the southern third of the state. We'll keep you updated. We've got live coverage continuing throughout this evening and back tomorrow from Key West, Fort Myers, and South Beach in Miami. Get the latest right here through the evening, right here on the Weather Channel.
Now, another city to keep an eye on tonight, Vero Beach, Florida. That's where we find our own meteorologist, Mike Seidel. You know, Mike, I was down in Naples for Tropical Storm Elsa last year, and one of my friends actually got engaged in Sarasota in the rain and in the wind. I hear you have a couple that just did the same today.
To beards.
Indeed, we've got the happy couple. Let's introduce Pam Zaritsky and Brett Lasky, who have been engaged for, I think, less than 60 minutes, right?
Something like that.
And it's also your birthday.
It is.
Okay, they told, I told the producer, Tori, back at work, they're in their mid to late 20s. You guys are living life good because, how old are you guys?
Today's my 37th birthday.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You look great for 37. I thought you were 25.
Wow, that's very nice of you. 36.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So how did you guys meet and when was it?
We met in October of 2020,
So back during COVID.
the height of COVID, via Bumble, a dating app.
Yes, the dating app.
Yes, we met at a coffee shop, and it turned out neither of us liked coffee.
True story. Yeah, but I mean, we came down here and like I was going to propose on the beach.
And what happened?
I guess the tropical storm
Oh,
and
the rain?
The rain. So I ran out this morning to get rose petals from this flower shop, then went to Walmart, got some candles, and wound up doing it in the room and then taking some pictures out here.
Well, don't feel bad because I've never told the world this. My wife knows, but I got engaged at Applebee's. So that puts it in perspective. So consider your move a lot classier.
Hey, Applebee's is good.
Yeah, you know,
that
that's a good
works.
steak.
Yeah.
So what are the plans now? You both live in Jacksonville Beach. Have you made plans? Have you thought about getting married on the beach?
Well, she just asked me like a minute ago, when are we getting married? I said we just got engaged 20 minutes ago. I don't know.
We'll see what happens. Do you officiate?
I only have a meteorology degree. I don't have a divinity degree. But you got to consider if you get married on the beach, what time of the year?
Very
With the
true.
hurricane season.
Very true.
True, I guess not in
August, September,
June.
October.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Well, you may get some room.
Good
okay,
note.
Pam Zaritsky and Brett Lasky, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you
To
so
the
much.
bride and the groom.
Thank you,
and
thank you.
And your parents came down
Yes.
because they thought it was,
A birthday trip.
and so they were surprised too.
I think they were in on it.
They were in on it.
They were
Okay.
in on it for sure. My mom took me to get my nails done earlier today, and when I came back, he was ready to go.
We got to show the ring. Did you put the ring up, Tori? Did you put the ring up on the air? Isn't that a beautiful ring? There you go. Okay, congrats. Enjoy your
you.
dinner over at the Ocean Restaurant.
so much.
Okay, you're welcome. There you go. Chris Bruin, a happy couple. A little bit of rain didn't stop the engagement. He moved it inside. He got some flowers, and they're going off to dinner, and they'll make their marriage plans, wedding plans, and if it's on the beach, they know, living in Jacksonville, that they will have to deal potentially with tropical storms and hurricanes.
I love it, Mike. I mean, that's almost up there as good as getting engaged at Applebee's. I think that was a classic. That was a classic.
Yeah, my wife has never forgotten that, but she's, as far as I know, she's still, when I get home, I always, worry if the locks have been changed, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. But yeah, it was just one of the spur of the moment, hey, why don't we get married? She said, sure. And we were at Applebee's, so that's how it went. It wasn't very romantic, but it's all good. It all worked out. We've been married
that's
a long
awesome.
time.
She's never going to forget it either. You did your job. A great couple there, and not letting the weather ruin their plans. I love it. Taking advantage. They probably had the beach to themselves too, so it'll give them some quiet time.
Right.
Yes. Okay, let's get a look here. City in Florida we'll be watching closely is Vero Beach. That's there on the Treasure Coast. That's where we find meteorologist Mike Seidel. Mike, you mentioned Marco Island approaching 5.5 inches of rainfall, and we may get another 5-6 inches on top of all that. So double-digit rain seems to be the biggest threat with this system.
Yeah, by far, as we often see with depressions and weak tropical storms, and with this case, a potential tropical cyclone, it's all about the rain, and you can get totals, whereas when you have a tropical storm or hurricane that's moving faster, it cuts down on the rainfall. Maybe you get up to 7 miles an hour, but you only get 3 inches of rain. So there's that trade-off. Speed of motion. You slow down the storm and you get more rainfall. Right now in Vero Beach, it's not bad. We've got a light breeze. We'll show you the palm trees. Winds are running 8 to 10 miles an hour. That is it from the south and southeast, so the swell's coming in from the southeast. And as you can see on the radar, we are not in the rain right now, just a few scattered drops. Everything's to our south. We've kind of dried out overhead here in Brevard and here in Indian River counties. But the rain is on the way. We'll time it out for you. And looking at all the future radars, the HER model, and what we've got at the Weather Channel, you can see it's all comes at us really after midnight tonight and then into at least mid-morning tomorrow morning. We're going to have some very heavy rain. Winds could gust to 40 miles an hour, and there's going to be the risk of some flash flooding, certainly ponding on the highways, and that's why the flood watch rather is up for the entire southern third of the state, and that runs until 3 a.m. Sunday morning, so till late tomorrow night. Although the timing right now is not etched in stone. It may rain until 2 o'clock. It may rain until 5 o'clock in this area, but we'll keep you updated. We're on late tonight. And again, extended coverage tomorrow for the tropical system. The first one of the season. It's a warm-up. We've got a long way to go, so stay with the Weather Channel.
Another city to keep an eye on tonight, that's Vero Beach, Florida. Mike, you just talked to a couple that got engaged. I mean, what does the beach look like right now? Are you seeing a lot of activity, or is it fairly deserted?
There's a few people up and down the beach right now. It's not raining at all. We've got a breeze south-southeast running at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. And I'm looking at some of these rain gauges. We talked about Marco in southwest Florida, the new flash flood warning from the National Weather Service in Miami. Marco Island now, some of the gauges up to 6.12 inches. I see a gauge back on Highway 41 near Naples, 6.87 inches. So we're approaching double digits and going up towards Naples. We've got plenty of reports of 4 to 5 inches of rain. Meanwhile, we go over on the east coast of Florida, and rainfall totals have not been nearly as bad because we haven't gotten into the real thick of the matter. It's coming up through the Everglades. It'll come into Fort Lauderdale, Miami. In fact, the past hour, both airports had less than 0.05 of an inch of rain. Totals around Miami, I see as much as 2.5 inches of rain so far. And up here, we've only had about 1/4 of an inch of rain here in Vero Beach. We're in Indian River County. The tropical storm warning goes as far north as the next county up, Brevard County, so as far as Titusville, Cocoa Beach, and the Space Coast. Our timing is overnight tonight, after midnight tonight, through at least mid-morning tomorrow. Look out for those squalls, drenching downpours, localized ponding and flash flooding. That's all on tap. That's really the moniker of the system, not wind or surge or erosion or damage. It's really about the rainfall. Now, we may get some gusts high enough to blow down a couple of palm fronds, but I wouldn't be too worried about this. So this is kind of a warm-up for the very early of the hurricane season, just beginning on June 1st officially, just a couple of days ago. We've got a long way to go. By the way, the water temperatures are warming up, 79 here, in the low 80s through the Keys in South Florida. So that's the warm water that supplies the energy as we go through the season. Those water temperatures will head to 85 towards 90. So that is the status here in Vero Beach. Cloudy, breezy, dry right now, but a lot of rain on the way. Let's go back to the studio, check in back with with Ray and Chris Brewing.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Thanks for the update there. One city in Florida we'll be watching closely is Vero Beach. That's where we find meteorologist Mike Seidel. Mike, we've been talking about the shear of the storm. It's kind of keeping everything dry on the north and west side. You can see that on the radar, especially across central Florida. A very stark contrast with the rain ends.
And we actually had a pretty nice sunset here. We got some breaks in the overcast and a nice golden kind of pinkish hue to the sky. Getting dark now. You can see the breezes blowing the palm trees. They're gusting about 15 miles an hour. That's it. I want to show you the radar. This is really the story with the system. It's not the wind, really, and it's not beach issues like erosion and surge. That's not going to be a problem, no inundation. It's all about the flash flood potential from PTC number 1. Whether it becomes Alex or not doesn't change the impacts at all. We'll look down at the south. Heavy rain now coming up through the Keys, from the Upper Keys, Key Largo into Homestead and South Miami-Dade County, some very heavy rain. This is all working our way. Looking at the latest HER model, the high resolution radar, and it shows that we're going to get into the thick of it after midnight tonight, at least through later tomorrow morning. And so we're going to get our fair share of rain already around Marco. They're approaching double-digit rainfall totals. The the flood watch and the risk of flash flooding increases after midnight, and the flood watch continues until late Saturday night and early Sunday morning. So again, it's all about the rain, the ponding, the flash flooding. So if you've got any kind of trips in the southern third of the state, especially here on the East Coast from Miami-Dade County, Broward, Palm Beach County up here to Indian River and Brevard counties, tomorrow morning, look out because it is going to be raining very hard at times, as we've seen in Marco, rainfall rates of 1 to 2 inches an hour. Extended coverage continues through later on this evening. Stay with us here on the Weather Channel.
Let's get a look at the conditions in Vero Beach right now, where Mike Seidel is live there with the latest. Mike.
Hey, Mark, very quiet right now here in Vero Beach. We've had about a quarter of an inch of rain. The wind has not gusted more than 15 miles an hour. It's very, very calm, and it is going to get very wet and windier as we get into the after midnight time frame through at least late tomorrow morning. You can see what's coming at us from South Florida, from the Everglades and Southwest Florida. We've seen rain gauges pushing almost 10 inches of rain now near Marco and Naples. I'm not saying we're going to get 10 inches of rain here. I don't think that's going to happen, but certainly as much as 4 or 5 inches of rain as it starts to fall and comes in heavily later on tonight. We are on that flood watch. Most of the southern third of Florida and the Keys under that until late tomorrow night, and the tropical storm warning. We may get some wind gusts in excess of 40 miles an hour, which could blow down some palm fronds, but that would be about the worst of it. Take it back to earlier today when we were in Fort Lauderdale, where they've officially now had 1 inch and 2/3 of rain at the airport. There have been higher totals in Broward County and certainly in Miami-Dade County, but they've got a long night ahead of them too. It's more about the rain than anything else. Now, there is that increased risk with that center, broad circulation coming across the state, an increased threat of some severe weather. There could be a couple of tornado spin-ups. We'll see if the Storm Prediction Center does eventually issue a tornado watch. But the main threat across all of Florida tonight and here through at least about noon tomorrow is exceptionally heavy rain, those tropical blinding downpours, and some winds that may gust to 40 miles an hour. Our first system of the season, Mark, unfortunately, wind shear is keeping it from getting any stronger from the wind perspective, but it's dumping a lot of rain. In fact, more rain that many people see during tropical storms and hurricanes, because right now it's only moving at 7 or 8 miles an hour.
Yeah, a lot of rain, a month or two's worth in just 24 hours. Well, luckily it's a weak system, but again, the heavy rainfall is going to be a big deal with this system. Thanks, Mike.
Good evening. Welcome back to our continuing coverage of tropical cyclone, a potential tropical cyclone number 1. A lot of words there. It just means that it's not quite got the necessary characteristics for getting a name. It's got the 40-mile-an-hour winds, but it doesn't have a close circulation. Wind shear has been the big issue. Thank goodness. This thing is not going to intensify anymore. It's all about the rain, and you can see on the radar where it's falling right now. Southwest Florida from the Keys, although it's not going to last much longer down in Key West where they've gusted to 48 today. That's really been the windiest location, and now up into Miami-Dade County. This is all going to be moving north and northeast towards us here on the Treasure Coast, including Vero Beach and Fort Pierce, and up to the Space Coast. The whole southern third of the state's under a flood watch through late tomorrow night. With that said, we're expecting 3 to 5 inches of rain here in this part of the state. We've already had over 5 inches, in fact, 7 to 8 inches of rain around Marco and Naples. And the timing on this, here, the heaviest rain after midnight tonight through at least mid to late tomorrow morning, and then it's going to wind down in the afternoon. Not quite sure exactly when it's going to end, depending on if the circulation redevelops and moves faster off the East Coast. But one thing is for sure, by about dinner time tomorrow night, we're done with this in the Sunshine State. And by the way, heads up, it's not going to impact the Carolinas directly, Carl. We were a little concerned about that because it probably will pick up a little bit of intensity, but right now the worst of it will be on the Outer Banks, probably just some high surf and some rip currents, much like we'll have here. Rip currents an issue the next couple of days, but not a beach story here as far as erosion, overwash, inundation, and certainly no storm surge expected.
Yeah, all in all, as you say, it's really all about the rain here with this storm in Florida. Mike, thank you so much.